Hello, everybody. You are speaking to Julian. You are not. I'm Julian from Hyperion Dev, and uh, today I will be walking you through installing a couple of softwares in your computer so that you can roll or basically go with us during the boot camp. So there is a first version of this set of videos that has been done for Mac users. And then this part of the video will be for Linux users. So, okay, like I said, I am Julian, and I will be working alongside Rian and Armand in the software engineering stream. You may see me as well in some of the streams, but I'm more dedicated to the software engineering stream at Hyperion Dev. So, and also please forgive me, the my monitor is on the other side, but yeah, I can still keep contact with you. All right, so we will be going through the installation of Git today. And before we start, you will have to be aware of the current GitHub repository that we have there. So GitHub, it's a website that is there for developers to store code and documents, and it allows us to keep multiple versions of those documents as we go that will allow doing rollbacks and updates. But don't worry about that and about GitHub and all of those. You will see that somewhere in the lecture, but then in the lectures. But the most important part is to make sure that you're able to get your lectures and the code that will make available on Git. All right, so we will start by basically exploring the whole Linux. In this case, we are dealing with the one of the latest version of Ubuntu. And yeah, so let's start. Let's start by going into uh, the repository of Hyperion Dev for the bootcamp you'll be going through. So it will be www.github.com/Hyperion Dev bootcamps. All right, boot bootcamps. Yeah. Forward slash. All right. So as you can see, we have everything we need. What we're looking for is the 2024 commercial lecture backpack. And this will be shared with you. We will basically give it to you. And as you can see, we have multiple streams here. We'll be more interested into the software engineering skill, let's say the software engineering stream. And in week one, we'll be having lecture one and lecture two. Up until week six, we'll be having lecture one and lecture two. But then in this particular case, I want us to focus on the starter pack. That starter pack basically has everything you would need to basically start. So we've done Git for Mac users, but then we'll do Git for Linux users or Ubuntu users. So what we're seeing here is basically some steps that you would need to follow to install Git. In this instance, we want to follow the Linux part, right? The Linux element will allow us to install Git. I'll have to mention that more often than not, Linux users, they already have a whole set of softwares that are already available to them. I'm not sure how many people will be using Linux because if you're using Linux, I'm not sure if you will have to follow this because I'm sure you're already acquainted to this, but yeah. So we will be installing Linux and we will be installing Git and most of what we will do here will be through the terminal and we'll go to the terminal now. All right. So you say install through the package manager, for example, all this. So yeah, you can use it through the terminal. You can use it through You can install it through Ubuntu, the Ubuntu package manager or the store manager. But I won't go there, and I'm very sure that it's already installed. Let's first of all go to the terminal, shall we? As a Linux user or Fedora, not Fedora Core, but Ubuntu user, you'll have to go to the bottom here to show the applications. There are the applications. We're looking for the terminal. Let's go to the terminal. Here is the terminal we have open. So once you have the terminal open, this terminal is almost like the the non-graphical user interface of the computer. Most of what you can do with the graphical user interface, you can do with the terminal. And that's the reason why it's such an important tool to use. As you can see here, with the package manager of Ubuntu, here you can get to multiple of the softwares. So if I come here and then I look for Git, then I'm very sure we'll pick it up somehow. If it doesn't, maybe is it installed already? Okay, it doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to be seen here. So if I search for Git here, I'm seeing multiple things, but then it's not what I want. It's a bit of that, right? So with Linux, you are on your own. You are required to understand and be aware of what you do. So in this case, I'm not seeing what I want, right? Then I close this one, and then I go back to the terminal, right? If I have to start over, I go to show all the applications, and then I tap it here, terminal, and I get to the terminal. And the terminal is that place where you basically install and maintain multiple softwares into Ubuntu, and that's almost similar in Mac. All right. So in the terminal, what we usually do there, you should be used to these type of command lines. So you want to install as an administrator. So to install something as an administrator in Linux, you need to use sudo. And then you do apt get. That's basically a set of commands to say that you would like to install some applications and you would like to download it from somewhere. And when you do that, you want to install the application called Git. But before even we do that, let me copy this and let me remove that. Remember, I told you earlier that with Linux, you are more likely to see most of these applications already installed. So we will tap in here Git and see if you don't get an error. Let's see. Oh, Git actually is not installed. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing because it's not installed. It's a good thing because we will see at least how to install that. It's like, please ask your administrator. For this instance, I am the administrator. So now let's paste that command that we had and let's make this screen slightly bigger. Let's see if we can maybe make the the writing a bit bigger as well. Um, yeah, that's it. All right. So we have now this command, and then I'll press enter. It will ask me for my password. I'll put in my password. Yeah, when you put in your password, it won't show, but uh, yeah, you will basically get your details, but it won't show the passwords. Julian is not a sudo file. The incident will be reported. Hmm, let's see. Uh, yeah. So what I've done, I said SU to basically get into the root file to show that I can have access to it. So again, that's another thing with Linux. You need to have the one of the highest privileges to make sure that you can interact with the computer. In this instance, Julian, that's me, do not have all the rights to deal with this system. I can change that, but then I don't think it's the the right platform to do so now. Let's just make sure that we can install it. So this SU means that I want to be the super user to install. So now let's paste this command again and run it. As you can see, things are happening. And then do you want to continue capital Y for yes? And everything is being installed as it should. So Git is actually being installed, and that's perfect. Now, if I type Git again, you would see that I have a different response than the previous one. Now I can do a lot more. Now I can even exit. You see here the user is root. Now, if I exit, I'll go back to the user Julian. And then if I type in here Git, then Git has been installed for me as well, right? So I can now use that Git part. And this is basically it. And you can do whatever you want. But let's do something a bit forward with this so that you have the confidence that it works. So we've installed Git. Now we need to figure out a repository, right? So you need to uh, go to GitHub, username, repository name dot git. In this instance, I just want to pull, for example, this particular repository where all of these things are. So what we do on GitHub, mostly on GitHub, you come here on code, you click on that, and then you copy the URL of this particular repository. This URL that you copied is the very same that's here at the top, but then let's just better copy it from here. And let's go back to the terminal and let's do one more thing. So let's see where we're currently standing at. In Linux is PWD, and that stands for Print Working Directory. And it basically tells you that you are in a folder called Julian from home. Now we want to get into, let's see what elements we have in there. So we type ls for list. You see that you have a couple of folders. You have a couple of folders here that basically make your system. So now I want to get into the documents folder. So I type in here cd for change directory, documents, and then I press enter. And then I'm in the document folder. If I press ls, there shouldn't be anything. I don't have anything in there, and that's good. So now I'll put something in there. So now we can use Git. And again, once again, we will see Git in our curriculum, right? We'll see it in our curriculum. Don't worry about most of what's going on here is just to make sure that you have Git installed in your system. So we will do Git clone. We want to clone or download this whole repository into our own computer. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but we could also download a zip file. And the reason why we're doing all of these things this way or that way will be a separate lecture on its own, taught by Rian at some point. But let's go back to Git clone. And remember, we copied something from Git some minutes ago. I right click and I paste. I have the whole link right here. And if we even go into this document folder, document, there is nothing, right? We have nothing here. So if I come here and then I press enter, you would see a couple of things happening, and the repository has been copied, and we have the repository that has been downloaded at this place, and we have automated pull script, cybersecurity, starter pack, which is exactly what we have here. The reason why we're doing that will be explained during the lecture. Don't worry about that. Make sure that you only have your Git installed. Make sure that you have everything installed, and happy coding. Next video, I'll show you how to install Python. Good luck and see you then. Bye.